Hey everyone, what's going on? On May 9th, we got this scripted story in the mainstream media yet again about Chelsea Manning. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say scripted, check out some links in the description. Every day, our mainstream media is coded with an ancient knowledge practice called gematria or gematria, which is the practice of coding numbers into words and phrases. And you can see how every day these stories are all put out by a certain code. And the big thing with this Chelsea Manning story on May 9th was she was released from Virginia jail after 62 days. And it's so interesting because in the practice of coding numbers into words and phrases, look what Chelsea Manning equals 62. And they released after 62 days. Look what WikiLeaks equals. WikiLeaks 62. Look what transgender equals. Transgendered equals 62. And transgender is also important. Equals 53, just like Chelsea. And, I'll mention a little bit more about 53 here in a second. But it's just always scripted this way every single day. I don't know how people can't catch on to what is going on. Right in your face. Chelsea Manning 62, 62 days. And if you go back and watch all my other videos about Chelsea Manning, a big thing is the number 17. It's really important. Everything about her or him or whatever you want to call it. 17. Born on the 17th day. Got pardoned or commuted by Obama on the 17th day of the year 17. Got released out of jail on the 17th of May. Convicted of 17 charges. All kinds of stuff with the number 17. Moved back to the United States at the age of 17. And the reason it's so important we got the story on May 9th, 5-9, is because the 17th prime number just so happens to be 59. So it's absolutely a perfect day for a story about Chelsea Manning to be in the mainstream media. And I'm not going to go into detail in it, but it is really synced up to some of the stuff I've talked about with the death of Nipsey Hussle and how it's connected to marathon stuff and the Chelsea bombing that we got in 2016. But I'll leave some links in the description. So it also says in this story that Chelsea's going to be going back to court on May 16th. And if you've been following my channel, I've talked about how this date has been significant. There's something important to this date. Whether there's going to be some type of shooting, I really don't know. Maybe there's just going to be another significant story in the media. But there's something really, really important to this date. I talked about how it's connected to, Charlotte and a bunch of things. And then, of course, we get a Charlotte shooting just a few days after. I talk about the importance of Charlotte. So, what I pointed out earlier in the year was, so we had the Chelsea Manning story on March 8th. And if you read out March 8th, it equals 53. And she got arrested in Virginia, that equals 53. And grand jury equals 53. Chelsea equals 53. Transgender equals 53. When Obama commuted her, it was on Michelle Obama's 53rd birthday of all days. And think about Michelle Obama and how people say that she's a tranny, right? I mean, how ridiculous. And if you read out Michael Obama, which some people refer to her as, it equals 241, the 53rd prime number. So there's no doubt this whole story is just all scripted. And what I talked about was then we got the arrest of Julian Assange in London, and then we had Nipsey Hussle's wife. Her name was Lauren London, and then we had the London Marathon and a bunch of stuff. But Julian Assange is important because, we go by the Gregorian calendar, but the Julian calendar is still used, and WikiLeaks just so happened to be founded on the last day of the Julian calendar, October 4th. In 1566, I believe it was, the Julian calendar's last day was October 4th, and then it went over to October 15th on the Gregorian calendar. So WikiLeaks, created by Julian Assange, is created on the same day the Julian calendar comes to an end. It's pretty interesting. And if you go from May 16th on the Gregorian calendar, it's the same as May 3rd on the Julian calendar. May 3rd, a lot like 53. So there's something important to it. May 16th is, what is going on here? May 16th is also 5-3, just like Chelsea and transgendered and all these other things, May 9th even has a date numerology of 53. I wrote it in here wrong. It's supposed to be a 19, but 20 plus 19 is 39, 49 plus 4 is 53, so that number is really, really important. The September 19th date that I've been talking a lot about with the Chelsea bombing and so on, and you have to see the previous videos, but if you go from May 9th to that date, it's 133 days, and Julian Assange equals 133. Just the word Julian equals 133. The word Ethiopia equals 133, and Ethiopia was important to all of the marathon coding that I have been talking about. So we had that Ethiopian airline crash that was on March 10th, and it was synced up to the Lion Air crash, if you remember. They even compared them in the media because it was the same type of plane, and them two planes were 133 days apart that they crashed. So what are the odds? Ethiopia equals 133. It's all synced up to the ruler who was the lion of the tribe of Judah, Haile Selassie, who equals 133. Haile Selassie the first is title 133. If you take off the first even, it equals 83, just like Ethiopia. Let's type it out really quick. If I can type Ethiopia. There we go. 83, 133. Also, if you've been following, I talked about how the Ethiopian calendar was also important. The Ethiopian calendar, if you don't know, they still believe that it is the year 2011. And what's so interesting about this story is that it came out on 5/9. And if you go to the day that Chelsea Manning was commuted by Obama on Michelle Obama's 53rd birthday, on the Ethiopian calendar, that was May 9th, 5/9 of the year 2009. So I know it's important that we got this news story about Chelsea Manning getting out of jail on 5/9, right? 117 is the same as 5/9 on the Ethiopian calendar. And it's also interesting the day that Chelsea was originally released from jail was May 17th of the year 17, and that was 9909 on the Ethiopian calendar. Like 999. It's pretty interesting, a triple digit number. So there's something important to it. Ethiopia reminds me of, lots of black people as well, and the number 59 is this number that's been negatively stamped on black people all throughout history. I'm not going to go into that, but, I talk about that in tons of videos. So interesting, this important date. And this story also comes just after we got the plane that went off the runway into the river in Florida, and that river was 310 miles long, and that was that big number that was important to the Ethiopian airline crash that was on 310. And that plane, it reminded us of, the plane crashing into the Hudson, the miracle on the Hudson, and that person was Chesley was their name. Solely, their real name was Chesley, which is a lot like Chelsea. I find interesting, but that plane was coming from Guantanamo Bay, and that's a maximum security place, a prison, right? And the reason it sticks out so much is because the horse in the Kentucky Derby, the very next day after that plane skidded off the runway, they got disqualified, was called maximum security. And just the night before, we had the plane crash or skid off the runway coming from a maximum security prison area. There's something important to it. Think about Chelsea Manning and, prison. And think about Chelsea Manning also exposed on WikiLeaks, supposedly, stuff about Guantanamo Bay. So there's something important there. I haven't figured out the complete riddle, but I know it's important because, it's synced up to Michelle Obama, and Barack Obama was trying to get rid of Guantanamo Bay altogether, right? And now a big deal is that Trump had pardoned the I don't even know what the guy's name is, but Trump pardoned the soldier who killed the Iraqi soldier, right? And Obama released all these people out of Guantanamo Bay, and so on. So there's something really important to Guantanamo Bay and how it syncs up to this story. I don't fully know the riddle, but there's definitely a riddle with maximum security and Chelsea Manning and now Julian Assange being arrested. It's all just you know, it's all just a script. Like, you know, it's just a joke, just to get people riled up and everything else. So we'll see what happens. I'm interested to see what's going on. There, the dates of May 16th through May 19th, just they're all like seemingly really important to what I've been documenting, and that date of 9/19 is really important as well. 9/19/19, and this story also comes 19 weeks before 9/19/19, which is interesting, right? 133 days, but also 19 weeks. We just had a story about Elizabeth Warren in the media, and this is just after the royal baby was born on 5/6, and royal family equals 56. And, you know, I know it's synced up to the NASCAR stuff I was talking about. NASCAR equals 56, and also it equals 52. And I talked about how this royal baby was synced up to the birth of Princess Charlotte in 2015 on May 2nd, 5/2, 5/6. So you come to my blog, it'll make a lot more sense. I don't get to make these videos all the time and I get behind, but I have all kinds of posts that you can read if you understand this easy language of gematria that's being used in front of us every single day. You know, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So leaving it there. Have a good one. Peace.